Hi, I'm Mark, and welcome to the weekly Outside Views report on British politics. And today I want to talk about the real power of the British king. After the death of Elizabeth II, her son Charles III, officially new king of Great Britain, has his coronation tomorrow. But what is he allowed to do as head of state and what not? So Charles III is King of Great Britain. Especially convened council confirmed Queen Elizabeth II's son as British head of state on September 10th in London. Charles had automatically become king with the death of his mother, though. He will be crowned officially tomorrow, and Charles has some powers as new King of Great Britain. But the role of the British monarch is primarily ceremonial. The ruler is expected not to interfere in political affairs. However, as head of state, the monarch also has some constitutional powers. First, there is the role in Parliament. Parliament is the highest legislative body in the United Kingdom and consists of the House of Commons, the House of Lords, and the Crown, that means the Royal House. The Royal House is the oldest part of the British system of government, but over the centuries its power has been significantly eroded and is now largely limited to rituals. Then there's the establishment of the government. The day after a parliamentary election, the respective monarch asks the leader of the party that has won the most seats in the lower house to form a government. And then there's opening and dissolution of parliament. Every year, the monarch opens the session of parliament in a magnificent ceremony and reads out the government program for the next 12 months. It begins with a procession by the king or queen from Buckingham Palace to Houses of Parliament. There, the monarch goes to the House of Lords. An official known as the Black Rod is dispatched to summon the members of the House of Commons, and the door is slammed in the monarch's face as a symbol of the Parliament's independence from the monarchy. Before a general election, the monarch formally dissolves Parliament. And there's the royal approval. After both chambers of Parliament have approved a bill, it is passed on to the monarch, who approves it and thus puts it into effect. Theoretically, the respective king or queen could refuse to consent. Queen Anne last exercised this privilege in 1708. And is the Prime Minister's confidant, because during her 7 decades on the throne, Queen Elizabeth II held weekly meetings with all Prime Ministers, allowing them to share their plans and concerns with her. They tell me what's going on and if they're having problems, and sometimes I can help in some way, is what the Queen said in a 1992 documentary about her role in the meetings. You know, I'm impartial and it feels good to be something of a sponge, she said. And there's the appointing of lords and knights. The regent can appoint lords as members of the House of Lords, but only does so in consultation with the government. In addition, the monarch knighted deserving citizens. For this purpose, the government submits a list of nominees to him every year. But there's also the possibility of intervention in constitutional crises. In the event of severe constitutional crises, the British monarch can act against the advice of members of the government. However, this has never happened in modern times. And he's the church leader. As the secular head of the Anglican Church, the monarch can appoint bishops and archbishops. However, this only takes place in coordination with a church committee. The coronation of the British monarch, King Charles III, as I said, takes place tomorrow on May 6th. Many top-class guests are expected at the festive ceremony in Westminster Abbey. Among other things, you can look forward to the Swedish King Carl Gustaf and his eldest daughter, Crown Princess Victoria, as well as the Spanish royal couple Felipe and Letizia. However, the guest list also features 2 names that are causing controversy in the UK. And this was reported by the British Daily Mail. I mentioned it in another video, but I think it's worth mentioning here as well. The Chinese Vice President Han Cheng is expected to represent Xi Jinping at the coronation in London. Han Cheng was responsible for arresting, injuring and killing scores of activists during the 2019 Hong Kong protests. As a result, British MPs condemned Beijing's decision to send Han Cheng as disrespectful and outrageous. And even Buckingham Palace commented on the incident. They said they would not comment on the guest list per se, but said the king's relationship with China was particularly sensitive. In 1997, the United Kingdom handed Hong Kong back to China. A treaty stipulated that Hong Kong would have democratic freedom for 70 years after the handover. And that's not over. And before that, the British ruled Hong Kong for 155 years. Excerpts from Charles' diary are said to show that he described China's elite at the time as a horrid old wax museum. In 2008, the then heir to the throne is said to have cancelled an invitation to the Olympic Games in Beijing because of criticism of the human rights situation in Tibet. British Foreign Secretary James Cleverly tried to calm things down in a speech last week. Britain must work with China and maintain a constructive but robust relationship, as he said. And the other thing is the coming of Michelle O'Neill, the leader of Sinn Féin in Northern Ireland, who also confirmed that she will attend the coronation. Northern Ireland's supposed First Minister is pushing for Northern Ireland's secession from the UK. She is an Irish Republican, but attending the coronation is the right thing to do and demonstrates her commitment to peace and reconciliation, she says. And the members of the DUP especially will not like that. And I will see you in my next video. I'll be back.